The first person to recognize him was the banker, not because of his face, because of the security alert. Two guards stood near the glass doors as the branch manager approached slowly, trying to mask the tension in his posture. "Sir," he said carefully, "we need to confirm your identity before proceeding." Ethan Cole looked down at himself. Same worn boots, same frayed coat, same backpack containing everything he owned. 3 hours earlier, he had been sleeping behind a grocery store. Now the balance on the screen in front of him read, $18,426,211.73. The manager swallowed. "This account was transferred to you early this morning from the estate of Margaret Whitmore." The name meant nothing. "I think there's a mistake," Ethan said quietly. "There isn't." The manager slid forward a photograph recovered from the estate. An elderly woman. Sharp eyes. Unmistakable presence. Ethan felt something twist in his chest when he read the caption beneath it. Margaret Whitmore, founder, Whitmore Logistics. Then the manager said the sentence that made the room tilt. "She listed you as her only heir." Silence. The guards relaxed slightly, but now employees were staring. Not at a homeless man. At a millionaire. Ethan's voice barely emerged. "Why would someone like her leave everything to someone like me?" The manager hesitated. "There is a letter. She requested you read it privately." Ethan opened the envelope with trembling fingers. Inside, a single handwritten line. "I never forgot what you did for me when everyone else chose not to see me." And in that moment, before the lawyers, before the headlines, before the family that would soon reappear, Ethan realized something unsettling. Someone had been watching his life for years, and he had no idea who else knew. Wealth did not feel real at first. It felt administrative. Forms, signatures, private meetings in quiet offices that smelled faintly of polished wood and expensive caution. They gave him a tailored suit within 24 hours. By the third day, his beard was trimmed. By the fifth, his posture had changed, not from confidence, but from constant disbelief. Yet one question followed him everywhere. Why him? The answer arrived through Margaret Whitmore's attorney. "She met you 11 years ago," the attorney said. Ethan searched his memory. Nothing. The attorney opened a file. A winter night. Record snowfall. She collapsed outside a closed pharmacy. Then it came back. A fragile woman shaking in the cold. Everyone walking past. Everyone pretending not to see. Except Ethan. He had given her his only blanket. Waited with her until the ambulance arrived. Then left before anyone asked his name. "She tried to find you afterward," the attorney continued. "You had disappeared. Because survival leaves no forwarding address. What you didn't know," the attorney added, "was that she began quietly tracking your life." Ethan's chest tightened. Tracking? She funded shelters you stayed in, paid medical bills anonymously, ensured you were never completely without protection. The world felt suddenly rearranged. Ask yourself, how many moments in your life were witnessed without your knowledge? Then the attorney said something stranger. "There is one condition attached to the inheritance." A pause. "You must live in her primary residence for at least 1 year." Why? She believed the house would explain everything. But the house would explain far more than Ethan was prepared to learn, because news travels faster than healing. And someone else had already discovered his name. The first call came 2 days later. Unknown number. He almost ignored it. "Ethan," a cautious voice asked. His stomach tightened instantly. Only one person ever said his name like that. "Daniel," he replied. His older brother inhaled sharply. "We've been trying to find you." "We?" "Not I. How did you get this number?" "A lawyer reached out, said there had been a family development." Of course he had. Money reorganizes memory. Daniel's voice softened artificially. "Mom's been worried sick." Ethan nearly laughed. Worried hadn't existed the night they changed the locks. The silence stretched. Then Daniel said it. "We should reconnect." Reconnect. As if connection had ever been mutual. Within a week, they arrived at the Whitmore estate. Mother first. Tears immediate. Hands trembling. "Oh my God, look at you." Look at you. Not how have you been. Not I'm sorry. Behind her stood Daniel and his wife, scanning the mansion with poorly concealed astonishment. Marble floors, cathedral ceilings, windows taller than the life Ethan used to have. His mother clutched his face. "We thought we lost you." "You did," he almost said, but something stopped him. Maybe the shock of seeing them smaller than memory had preserved. Then came the first fracture. His mother whispered, "You are going to help the family, aren't you? Now can we talk? Now can we rebuild?" Just inevitability. Ethan felt the air change. The inheritance had not reunited a family. It had summoned one. And that was when he began to wonder, had they come back because they loved him, or because someone told him exactly what he was worth? Margaret's house was less a home and more a narrative. Portraits lined the walls, but none were of her younger years. Every photo had been taken after she built her empire, as if she had erased the person she used to be. In her study, Ethan found the second letter. Money reveals people faster than hardship ever could. Watch carefully. That night he couldn't sleep. Voices carried from the downstairs terrace. His family. He hadn't meant to listen. But then Daniel said something that rooted him in place. "We need to move quickly before he gets advisors who poison him against us." His mother replied, "He owes us. We raised him." Raised. Not abandoned. Not expelled. Raised. Then came the sentence that shattered whatever fragile hope remained. "If Margaret watched him," Daniel continued, "there may be more conditions. We can't let him slip away again." Slip away, like an asset. Ethan stepped back into the shadows, and for the first time, he understood the house wasn't meant to explain Margaret. It was meant to prepare him. The request came at breakfast, carefully staged, gentle voices, measured pauses. Daniel leaned forward. "The business is struggling. A short-term loan would stabilize everything." "How much?" Ethan asked. $2 million. The number landed without ceremony. His mother reached for his hand. Families support each other. A memory surfaced uninvited. Him at 19. Suitcase on the porch. Daniel avoiding eye contact. His mother saying, "You need to figure life out on your own." He studied their faces now. No one mentioned that night. No one ever had. "What happens if I say no?" Ethan asked quietly. The warmth cooled instantly. Daniel leaned back. "I'd hate for money to come between us again." Again, as if distance had been mutual. Something inside Ethan settled then. Not anger. Clarity. "I need time," he said. But the truth was already forming. Because forgiveness is complicated when the people asking for it don't believe they did anything wrong. 3 weeks into living at the estate, Ethan discovered Margaret's final recording. Not labeled, not hidden, simply waiting. Her voice filled the study. Calm, precise. "If your family has returned, the experiment worked." Experiment. Ethan froze. "I built my fortune on one principle. Character is most visible when resources appear. Years ago, I lost everything trusting the wrong people, my own relatives." A pause. "So I watched yours." His pulse pounded. "I left you wealth not just as gratitude, but as protection. Because anyone willing to discard you once will eventually justify doing it again." The recording ended with a final instruction. "Before giving anyone your future, ask whether they were present in your past." Suddenly, everything aligned. The condition, the letters, the house. Margaret hadn't just given him money. She had given him perspective. And unknowingly, his family had already answered the question. The decision happened in the same dining hall where his family expected an announcement. They arrived confident, already discussing renovation ideas for their business. Ethan placed 3 envelopes on the table. "Inside is a trust," he said. Relief spread instantly, until he continued. "It covers housing, healthcare, and education expenses paid directly to providers." Daniel frowned. "No liquid access?" "No." His mother's voice sharpened. "You don't trust us?" Ethan met her eyes steadily. "I trust patterns." Silence. "You were right about one thing," he continued calmly. "Families support each other." He slid the final envelope forward. "For the shelter that kept me alive when I had no one." Daniel stared at him. "You're choosing strangers over blood?" Ethan shook his head. I'm choosing the people who never asked what I was worth before deciding I mattered. No one argued after that, because sometimes the loudest realization is the one no one could defend against. As they left, Ethan felt something unexpected. Not triumph, not revenge, just the quiet relief of no longer being invisible. Wealth doesn't change people. It reveals them. And sometimes the greatest inheritance isn't money. It's the clarity to see who was standing beside you when you had nothing. Ask yourself, if your life transformed overnight, who would suddenly remember your name? If you're drawn to stories that uncover psychology behind loyalty, power, and human nature, subscribe. The next story explores a betrayal even harder to see coming.